Everybody, and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 6 English lesson on prefixes. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts, grade 6. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of prefixes. All right. So our chapter is prefixes. Our subject is English Language Arts, grade 6. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of prefixes is words with pre, words with re, and words with sub. All right. So when it comes to prefixes, right, prefixes can be added to the beginning of a base word to create a new word, right? So prefixes can be added to the beginning of a base word to create a new word. And knowing the meaning of a prefix, it can basically help you to determine the meaning of the word. So basically, a prefix can be added to the beginning of a base word. And this is basically to create a new word. And knowing the meaning of a prefix, it can help you to determine the meaning of a word. So, for example, the meaning of prefix, the word pre, right? The prefix pre means before. And if we look at an example of a word that starts with the prefix pre, and then we're going to think of a word like preheat, right? Preheat. Usually, when they say preheat the oven or preheat something, right? Usually during baking or so on, then it means that you need to heat the oven before, right? So you need to first heat the oven before you put in the cake mixture or the something mixture, right? So the oven needs to be heated. So preheat before you heat it or before you put it in or something, but that is preheat. If you look at another example of prefixes, right, with pre, then we have the word predict, right? We have prevent. It's like you know something and we could have prevented that from happening, right? If you look at another word, then we have even preview. We even have preview. It's like where you view something before the time, right? Then we have predetermined and and we already have the word prefix. Then we even have, preschool. Remember kids, they go to preschool before they officially start school. So before they officially start school, they go to preschool, right? So that is a few examples of the prefixes, right? Of prefixes, but the prefixes that starts with pre. And pre means before. And then a prefix, right, it can be added to the beginning. We said it can be added to the beginning of a word to create a new word, right? It's the same like here with the word pre, right? Heat can stand on its own, right? School can stand on its own. View can stand on its own. So now we put the word pre in front of that word, right, in order to create another word or a new word. So we said knowing the meaning of a prefix can help you to determine the meaning of the word. Now we are here by re, right? So the prefix re, it means again. So the prefix re means again. And if we look at a few words or examples, right, that starts with the prefix re, and then we can maybe say like remake. It's to make something again, right? Remix, right? It's like you have the specific song, but you're just mixing it, or you are remixing something again. Refill, right? Meaning that your cup was full, but now I'm filling it again. Remove, like to take it away. Even if we say reappear, right? Reappear. It's like you were there, but now you're appearing again, right? Rename. It's like the name was a specific name, and now you are giving it another name again. Repaint, right? Repaint. You painted, but now you're painting again, for example. Then we even have refold. It's like you're folding something again. And then retell. It's like you're telling someone something again. So knowing this word, like for example, pre meaning before, knowing that re means again, right? This will basically determine it, or basically it will help you, right? It will help you to determine the meaning of the word. It will make it more easier because now you know, oh, re means this, and re is basically attached to another word in order to us to create a new word. Because make is a word that is on its own, right? So to make something, we start from scratch and we are making something, building something or whatever. But now if we're remaking something, it means that I've started this thing, but now I'm doing it again. It's the same with fill. Fill is like where you are pouring something, either some form of liquid into a glass or cup, right? You're drinking it up. Now, but now you're refilling it. It means that you are filling up that specific cup or glass again. That is why we're saying that knowing the meanings of these words, like pre, that is before, re, that is again, will then help you to determine the meaning of the word. All right. Here we have the prefix sub. The prefix sub. And the prefix sub, it means either under, below, or it can even mean less than. And if you think of a word that starts with sub, then we can maybe think of a word like submarine, right? Where will you find a submarine? You'll find it underwater, right? Then we also have another one which is submerge. So there's basically quite a few words, right, that basically falls under a way the word sub is attached to that specific word, right? It's like we are subdividing. I think that's more of a mathematical term. Subordinate. And then we have a substitute, right? That is but a few words that is examples of the prefixes with sub, right? And we said sub means either under, means below, or it means less than. Then subject, subject to something or someone, right? So once again, right, when it comes to prefixes, remember prefixes is a word that is at the beginning of a base word. A base word is a word that can basically stand on its own. So it's a word that can stand on its own. Then you can either latch a prefix at the beginning of or to the beginning of that base word to create a new word, right? And if you know the meaning of this word, like for example, sub means under, below, or less than, right? Then it will help you to determine the meaning of words. And I'm saying words because not just one word, but more than one word. You'll be able to know the meaning of these words basically by just knowing the meaning of what pre means, re means, and sub means. All right. So now we're going to our tutorial. We're going to do a tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca, right? And there we're going to do our tutorial plus our lessons. And we said our chapter is prefixes, and the first lesson we are going to is words with pre. So words with pre, right? We already went over what pre means. Pre means before, right? And then prefixes are added to a base word, right? They're added to the at the beginning to of a base word. And then once we add that word to the beginning of a base word, we then create a new word, right? We create a new word, but keeping in mind that the meaning of pre means before, right? Now, when does a basketball team complete its pre-game up warm up? Pre-game warm up. So when does a basketball team complete its pre-game warm up? Remember we said pre means before. So if they do the pre-game warm up, right? And then we can say the pre-game warm-ups is then done before the games begin because it is a pre-game warm-up. So it's before the game begins. We can say right before the games begin, but it's before the games begin. And if we pre-arrange a meeting, right, then when do we plan it? Remember, pre-arranged meetings are done in advance, right? Because we're arranging meetings, but we are pre-arranging meetings. So which means that these meetings are then arranged in advance or planned in advance. And why would you preserve a paint? And we preserve a paint to keep it in its original state. Guys, remember, we went right from the top, right to of the chapter, right down. And then we completed that, and then we started again from the top of the chapter, and we have scrolled down, and now we are close to almost the end of the chapter. We have repeated um basically lessons. Remember, new students came, right? New students also came, so which means that all of the lessons and the chapters that we are teaching, it is also for the new students. It's also for the new students. But if you were to wonder when did I do it, I think prefixes we didn't do in a very long time. If I did it yesterday, I would, understand. But we didn't do prefixes yesterday. We did something different. I mean, like not yesterday, but in our previous lesson. So remember, we are repeating lessons due to the fact that we are completing the whole list of the chapters, and also because new students constantly arrive. I hope that answers your questions. All right, so let's go to the test. Who is more likely to take part in a pre college program? Who is more likely to take part in a pre-college program, like before college? Is it adults or is it high school students? So, a pre-college program, is it adults or high school students? And if we take part in a pre-college program, right, we would say people who take part in a pre-college program would then be high school students, right? Because they are about to leave school. So before they enter the world of college, universities, right, they do a pre-college program in order to see which modules and things, that they want to do. It's like an orientation. When would you preheat an oven? So when would you preheat an oven? Is it right before you're ready to use it or a few minutes before you're ready to use it? Preheating an oven. All right, so when we preheat an oven, we preheat an oven a few minutes before you're ready to use it. And that is why they said heat the oven before you either put in the dough mixture or the something mixture, the cake mixture, right? Yes, so option two is correct. So well done. When might you preset a timer? Preset a timer. Is it before you use it or while you're using it? Preset a timer. So when might you preset a timer? Is it before you use it or while you're using it? Yes, so we would then say before you use it, right? Because it means before. So well done. So option one is correct. And then, when might you see a preview for a new television show? A preview for a new television show. Is it after the show has been released or before the show has been released? So, preview for a new television show, is it after the show has been released or before the show has been released? All right, so when might you see a preview of a new television show? And we will say before the show has been released. Yes, well done. All right, and a pre-game, right? When does a basketball team complete its pre-game warm-up? Is it right before halftime begins or right before the game begins? Right before halftime or right before the game begins? All right, and we will say right before the game begins, because that is a pre-game warm-up. So before the game begins. So well done, that is correct. All right, so now we're going to words with re, right? And we said re means again, right? It means again. And it's like asking when might you reload a website? We might reload a website when it doesn't load properly. That is why we say restart a PC because we are starting the PC again. Why might you recheck your work on a test? You recheck your work on a test because you found mistakes the first time you checked it, or you just want to make sure that you don't have any. So before I hand in the paper, let me check that I have written everything, the answers are all correct, right? And when can a writer review her essay? So a writer can review an essay after she has written it, right? So before then you hand in your essay, but then afterwards you can review your essay once you've written it. So why might you reconsider a decision? Is it because you haven't made a choice yet, so now you're reconsidering, or because you doubt your original choice? Reconsider because you haven't made a choice yet, or because you doubt your original choice. So why might you reconsider decision? We can say because you are doubting your original decision. So well done. Option two is correct. Well done. Yes. Why might you redraw a graph? Why might you redraw a graph? Is it because it is easy to read or because the lines are crooked? Redrawing a graph. So we might redraw something or graph when the lines are crooked. Yes, well done. When the lines are crooked, which might need to be readjusted. Readjusted. Is it a backpack with straps that are too tight? A backpack with straps that are too tight, or a backpack that is fairly small and light? So a backpack with straps that are too tight or a backpack with that is fairly small and light. So we might readjust something when either the backpack straps are too tight, right? So now you are making it a bit lighter, right? Yes, well done, guys. And lastly, one on a why might you relaunch a product? Why might you relaunch a product? Do we relaunch a product because it wasn't launched well the first time, or because you haven't launched it yet? Relaunched. So we might relaunch a product because it wasn't launched well the first time. Well done, guys. The first option is correct. All right, so now we're going to the last one, words with sub, right? And if your headache was subsided, what has happened? If your headache subsides, right, then it means that it no longer hurts as much as it did because now it has subsided. It's almost like kind of lowered, it went away. That is what they mean by subsided, right? And then in biology, which group is larger? And they say it's a family. Ooh. And which is a sub project of a building house, and a sub project of a small project or of a project makes up the part of a larger project. It's like building the foundation. That is a sub project, right? That's the first thing that you do. All right, so now let's go to our test. So where might you find a subway? A subway, is it on the streets, or you'll find a subway underground? Where will we find a subway? On the streets or underground? And we might find a subway, right? A subway is underground, right? It is underground. Well done. Yes, it is option two. It is underground, and that is where we will find a subway. Well done. Which is a subcontinent? A subcontinent. Is it Asia or India and its bordering countries? A subcontinent. Is it Asia or is it India and its bordering countries? So we need to say which one is a subcontinent. Asia or India and its bordering countries. And if we were to choose the correct one, we'll choose, think, I think, I think it's India and its bordering countries. Let's see if it's correct. I think. There's me thinking. And then my thoughting is correct. So India and its bordering country or borderline countries. So at least now we know that a subcontinent is India, right? It's a subcontinent. If a sub project takes 2 weeks to complete, how long might the overall project take? Is it more than 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks? If a sub project takes 2 weeks to complete, how long might the overall project take? More than 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. All right. And if a sub project takes 2 weeks to complete, then it means that an overall project will then take more than 2 weeks, right? The sub project is just like the starting, right? Who is better equipped for subsea exploration? Subsea exploration. Is it a scuba diver or is it a sailor? And remember, a subsea, this thing says under the sea, right? So, under the sea activities. Is it a scuba diver or a sailor? So, who is better equipped for subsea exploration? Do we say it is a scuba diver or a sailor? All right, so we can say a scuba diver, right? Because remember, scuba divers, they go underwater, right? They deal mainly with things under the water. A sailor is just a sailor, right? He stays afloat, he stays on top of the water in his ship, his boat, his sailboat, right? So a scuba diver goes deep underneath. So well done. Which is a subtopic of the other? Is it the study of the plants or the study of living things? So, which is a subtopic of the other? All right. Okay, let's do option one. As you guys have stated, it's a study of plants, right? Subtopic. I was confused there. Which might be a subheading of the heading nouns. So if we're doing nouns, right? Nouns is our heading. What do you think might be our subheading? Is it common nouns or parts of speech? All right, so which might be a subheading of the heading nouns? Remember, if the heading is nouns, then our subheading can then be, okay, we're talking about the headings, but today our subheading is we're talking about common nouns or proper nouns or abstract nouns, right? And then lastly, which might be a subcommittee of the other? Is it the students responsible the students responsible for decorating for a school dance or the students responsible for planning a school dance? So a subcommittee of others, is it the students responsible for decorating the school for a dance or the students responsible for planning a school dance? All right, so we can say a sub decorating a school, right? That is a subcommittee. So well done, guys. Well done. So we said that in order for you to know, or in order for us, a prefix can be added at the beginning of a root word or a base word, right? And then we create a new one or a new word. And knowing the meaning of the prefix can help you to determine the meaning of the word. And we said pre means before, re means again, and sub means under, below, or less than, right? All right, so that is now the end of our lesson on prefixes. Thank you very much for joining the class, and I really hope you're having a good evening further. Goodbye.